So today there is no appearance or disappearance day on our Vaishnava calendar. So what I'm going to do is return to our chapter from Chaitanya Charitamrita, where we left off on approximately verse 67 of the 15th chapter. And but tomorrow we have the Ekadasi, Kamika Ekadasi. So, and it is also the disappearance day of one of our more contemporary Vaishnavacharyas. His name was Srila Bhakti Kamala Govinda Maharaj. We won't be speaking about him obviously tomorrow because we don't have class. And he was a disciple of Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Maharaj. He was one of the very senior Vaishnavas who was elected by him that they should continue in their branch of Sri Gaudiya Math by giving initiations and so forth. But due to some poor health and his older age, then once he began to establish a temple near to Sri Radha Gokulananda temple in Vrindavan. Various Western devotees were also helping him to do that. But within a very short time, Krishna took him. So I saw him a few times, heard his katha. He was very rasik. And actually he also had very extensive and very deep association with Srila Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Goswami Maharaj, who was the very beloved godbrother of Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj, and they kind of co-founded their institution, their society. Forget the name. Chaitanya Mission, something like that.
Chaitanya Mission, Gaudiya Math. Chaitanya Mission.
Yes. But Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Maharaj, direct disciple of Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was very well known, and our Gurudev also knew him very well, because he also used to come and associate with Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj and with Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Maharaj and the other Vaishnavas in the Brajmandala Parikrama in previous years, in the 1950s, 1960s, like that, 70s. And my godbrother Pran Kishore Prabhu, he was very fortunate because he attended the Brajmandala Parikrama of Srila Narayan Maharaj in the year 1985. 1985, for the whole month he was there with another Western Vaishnava who was named Uddhava Prabhu. Uddhava Prabhu was a disciple of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. Later on, he tried also to establish a institution that would, in the name of Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Maharaj, would reconstruct some of the holy places in Vraj, which had broken down. And he's the one that oversaw the reconstruction of Kaliyadaha, where you see at Kaliyadaha, Kaliyagat in Vrindavan, that they have the fountains there, and Krishna dancing on Kaliya's head. And so he did all that work, the stairways, everything. Anyway, the two of them, they were the only Western devotees on that parikrama in 1985. 95, 2009, 2015. So it's nearly 40 years ago. And Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Maharaj was on that parikrama as well as other Gaudiya Vaishnavas disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and disciples of Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj and others. But my godbrother Pran Kishore, he was the first person from whom I heard this name, Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Maharaj. And what he told me was that when he returned back to America, he told me there was this very amazing Vaishnava, disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who was with us, and was with Gurudev on the parikrama for the whole month. And his face was very moon-like, but his eyes were slightly like sad. They looked a little bit sad. And he was somewhat heavy, his body. But Pran Kishore said the whole month, throughout the whole month, he would constantly be weeping and crying tears. And constantly he would be chanting Radhe, 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 Radhe. So Srila Narayan Maharaj told he was one of the very Rasik Vaishnavas who expressed somewhat openly their internal feelings. And this person, Bhakti Kamala Govinda Maharaj, he stayed with him for a number of years. And he had so much of his ecstatic association in, I think it's called Karadaha, or I forget the name of the village, the place. There's a Gaudiya Math established there, and he used to stay there. So those are some of my memories, and now, so that celebration will be tomorrow, but we will not have class tomorrow. And then on Thursday is our Srila Bhakti Vedanta Tirtha Maharaj. His disappearance day is here. There will be a festival here at the temple. So I will probably attend that festival just shortly, and then we will have class here on Thursday after that. And then on Sunday of that week, the 4th of August, is the disappearance day of my most worshipable, beloved Siksha Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. So on that day, I will go there to his mutt, Chaitanya Saraswat Mutt, and they will have a festival. Many Vaishnavas will be speaking. They'll have a very nice big feast there. So we will not have class here at that time. But on the following Tuesday after that, we'll have class, and I'll speak a lot about Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj and his divine instructions. So that's all coming up. But today, the 30th of July, I'm going to return now to the chapter of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So now, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was sitting with all of his, especially his Bengali Vaishnavas, who had come for the Ratha Yatra and who had stayed with him for 4 months in Jagannath Puri. And this is now after the festivities have all been completed. They also stayed through Janmashtami and so forth, Nanda Utsav. Mahaprabhu also danced like a cowherd boy with a stick, twirling the stick in the air, throwing it in the air, all acrobatics. He did that, and all the devotees were amazed. So Mahaprabhu now gathered together his devotees, and he instructed them that now all of you should return back to Bengal, and you should again come next year for the 4 months of the Rath Yatra festivities and Chaturmasya. So
Madhya Lila will now start.
Madhya Lila, what?
Madhya Lila Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter
15.
15.
Chapter 15. Verse 66. Verse 66 of chapter 15.
Verse 6. Verse
66. 66. So
it is maximum 15. Chapter
what?
15. 15.
Chapter 15. This chapter is titled, "The Lord Accepts Prasadam at the House of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya."
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So Mahaprabhu was sitting with all the Vaishnavas and he was interacting with them. And there's such a beautiful description, but before he began to speak with different Vaishnavas and glorify them, actually, he was glorifying his own associates. And then he began to tell to Srivas Thakur and the other Vaishnavas that when they return back here to Sri Navadvip Dham, that they should bring these items that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally sent, like Jagannath Mahaprasad and like the outer cloth, Mahaprabhu's outer cloth, they should bring them directly to Sachi Mata. And then Mahaprabhu began to express how, his love and affection for Sachi Mata was so extreme. And he began to tell about how Sachi Mata would cook for him, even though he's here in Puri. But Sachi Mata would cook, and she would be thinking and crying. And there's a whole pastime that is vividly described in this chapter, how Sachi Mata, after cooking, she would take the bhog and she would offer it to her Shalagram Shila. Right? But Mahaprabhu was expressing that Srivas Thakur and the other senior Vaishnavas, they should tell to Mother Sachi that actually every day I come there to eat from Puri. I come there and I actually directly eat the bhog, the foodstuffs that Mother Sachi has cooked. You see? And actually there's an incident where Mother Sachi made her offering. She cooked so many beautiful foodstuffs and made her offering to the Shalagram Shila, and she was crying from the core of her heart in separation from her Nimai. So Mahaprabhu wanted that Srivas Thakur should tell to her that, your Nimai, actually he does come here every day. Every day he comes here to see your lotus feet. And she can actually feel my presence, but she doesn't believe. She feels that I'm present, but she doesn't believe that truly he is present. So Mahaprabhu is telling to Srivas, you inform her that yes, I actually am present. And then he said, you should describe to her an incident that took place, that after Mother Sachi had offered all these different beautiful, wonderful preparations, many, then she took all that food on her lap that she had offered, that she was offering. And she was crying and crying and weeping and thinking that all of these different preparations, they were so dear to Nimai. Nimai loved them so much. And then he said, my mother, she was thinking, oh Nimai, he is not here. So who will accept all this food? Then as she meditated upon me in this way, Mahaprabhu is describing this, when I'm at like verse 57 right now. So when she meditated upon me in this way, her eyes filled with tears. And then, while she was thinking and she was crying, I immediately went there with great haste. Very quickly I went there. And I actually ate everything that she cooked. And when she saw that the dish was empty, what did she do? She wiped away her tears. Because the dish was empty. How did it become empty? Because Mahaprabhu actually came there and ate it. And she began to wonder. She began to think, who has eaten all this food? She began to think like that. And why is the plate empty? And she was wondering about this. Then she had doubt. She could not believe that Bal Gopal, her deity, had eaten all of this, right? So she began to wonder whether there was actually anything was even on the plate in the first place. She began to think maybe there wasn't anything on the plate, any food. And then she again thought that some animal, maybe an animal might have come and eaten everything. And she thought, oh, perhaps my mistake. I did not actually put any food on the plate. So thinking in this way, she went into the kitchen and then she saw all of the cooking pots that were in the kitchen. So there's the cooking pots in the kitchen and there's the plate that she brought each preparation to offer to the deities. But that plate was now empty. And then when she saw that all the cooking pots, they were still filled with the rice, vegetables, then she began to doubt in her mind. She was very much astonished. And in this way, she called her servant, her dear servant Ishan of the household, and she told that the whole place should again be cleaned. And then again, she offered another plate to Gopal. Now, Mahaprabhu says that whenever she prepares some very good cooked food and she wants to feed it to me, what does she do? She cries and cries and cries in great anxiety. Verse 65. And then I feel so much obliged to her love. And then by her crying, she brings me there to eat it. She's crying, where's my Nimai? He cannot come and eat this. But because she's crying, Nimai actually comes. And my mother, now Mahaprabhu is still talking to the devotees, he says, my mother, she knows all these things internally and she feels great happiness, but externally she does not accept them. You understand? You understand? You understand all this description here about Mother Sachi?
She prepared everything. She feel Krishna present with this, but she didn't see him, but she feel but she is present. But really, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and eat everything. And
But
sometimes she thinks, what is my, because it was empty, and she thinks, I should come again to the kitchen food.
But this happens every day. Mahaprabhu is just describing this one incident, but then he says, actually, I come there every day because she cries, where's my Nimai? And then I come and then I eat. And she can't see me, but she feels my presence. You see? So, he says, I actually go there. So this description took place, how Mahaprabhu was describing this. This took place on the last day, the Vijaya Dashami day. That's the day on the Vaishnava calendar when Sri Ramchandra was victorious over Ravana. It's called Vijaya Dashami. So then Mahaprabhu said, he's talking to Srivas Thakur, you can ask her. You can ask Mother Sachi about this incident. And you should make her believe. You should tell her that I said, I actually go there. I actually go there. Where does Mahaprabhu go?
From Puri to Wadli.
Yeah, directly to eat the food that Mother Sachi cooked. Now, when Mahaprabhu, this is verse 67, when Mahaprabhu was describing all of this, then he became a little bit completely overwhelmed, emotionally overwhelmed. But he had to control himself because he had to finish telling goodbye to all the devotees, bidding farewell to all the devotees. So therefore, Mahaprabhu remained dhairya, that means patient. Dhairya Darila. So now, the next person that Mahaprabhu began to speak to, you can picture him. He's sitting, and all of his devotees are in front of him. And one by one, he's speaking to his different eternal associates. And he's also glorifying them. So the next person that Mahaprabhu is speaking is Raghava Pandit. Okay? Raghava Pandit. And he told directly to Raghava Pandit, he said, I am obliged to you for your pure love for me. I am completely obliged to you because of your pure love for me. He told this. To who? Who is Mahaprabhu speaking to?
Raghava Pandit.
Everyone say his name. Raghava Pandit.
Raghava Pandit.
Raghava Pandit.
Raghava Pandit.
So, and Mahaprabhu is saying that I am obliged to you because you have such pure love for me. Shuddha Prem. Shuddha Prem. You have that for me. So, I am obligated to you. I am Tomar Vasha. That means I'm under obligation to you. Then Mahaprabhu informed all of the devotees. He said, all of you, now you should hear this. You should hear about the pure devotional service that is rendered to Krishna by Raghava Pandit. Mahaprabhu is now going to glorify Raghava Pandit's pure devotional service. So, indeed, Raghava Pandit's service is supremely pure. His service to me is supremely pure and highly accomplished. We're on chapter 15, Maharaj, of Chaitanya Charitamrita, verse 70. So now Mahaprabhu continues to talk about Raghava Pandit and his pure devotion. So now he says, you should hear now about Raghava Pandit when he offers coconuts to me. Coconuts. You know coconut? Coconut? Ты знаешь? This tree. Huh? You can see them just outside. And they have coconut. What is the word?
Coconut in Russia, same like. Sometimes
coconut.
Coconut.
Huh? Ka? Ka? Kos. Kakos. Now you know? Kakos. And so, all throughout Bengal there are so many kakos. Let me tell you the first time that I saw kakos trees. It was in Florida, in Miami, in America, 1971. And I never had gone to the southern part. Just like in Russia, you have the northern part, which is cold and snow and everything. But in the south, you have Sochi. Yeah, you have Sochi. So, in America, the southernmost place on the east coast of America is called Florida, the state of Florida. And Miami is the city just on the tip of the peninsula. That's Miami. So the first time I ever came there was in 1971, after I had been a devotee for 1 year. And I came there. I'm not telling the whole story, but there on the beach in Miami, it was very warm, but I came from Boston, which was very cold, winter, snow, everything, and now I'm in Miami, and it's sun shining, it's very warm, and there were coconut trees there. I never saw coconut trees before. And these coconut trees, they had coconuts on them. So I'm thinking, that would be nice if I could get a coconut. So I don't remember how it happened, but somebody, maybe they climbed up the tree or any coconut had dropped to the ground. And then I was able to take a coconut, they had cut it, and to drink for the first time. But here in Bengal, you can get coconuts, I think all year long. I think they're available all year long.
Yes, all year.
Yeah. So you can get coconuts, drink coconuts all year long. So here he's talking about Bengal. And Raghava Pandit lives in Bengal. So now he says that Raghava Pandit, he sells coconuts. He also sells coconuts. And he also sells other things. And he says that this coconut is sold for 5 gandas. 5 gandas. It doesn't say how much that is. And although he already has hundreds of trees, and he has millions of fruits, he is still very eager to hear about the place where sweet coconuts are available. He has already coconuts, but he wants to hear about any other place where sweet coconuts are available. And what does he do? He collects coconuts with great labor. He works so hard to collect coconuts. And how far away? 20 miles away. Do you know how far 20 miles is? If you're walking that far, how long will it take you?
6 hours.
Yeah, it will take many hours. But he would go that far away to collect these coconuts. And what does he do? He pays 4 panas for each of them. Yes. What was the amount? He sells them for 5 gandas. And he pays 4 panas for each of them. Okay. And every day, 5 to 7 coconuts are clipped. They're cut, you know. The coconuts are cut and they're put into water. Put the coconuts into water to keep them cool. Then at the time of offering bhog to the deities, to Krishna, then the coconuts are again clipped and they're cleaned. Then after, they make holes. Holes are made in the top of the coconuts, and then they are offered to Lord Krishna. This is Raghava Pandit who's doing this. And do you know what happens then? Lord Krishna drinks the juice from these coconuts, and sometimes the coconuts are left drained of all juice. Then at other times, the coconuts remain filled with juice. So when Raghava Pandit sees that the juice has been drunk from the coconuts, he is very pleased. He is very pleased. And then he breaks the coconuts, breaks them, and he takes out what? The coconut pulp. And he puts it on another plate. Then after offering the pulp, he meditates outside the temple room door. He meditates, because there's a temple room with the Thakurji doors. He went inside, he placed the coconuts there, and he comes outside and he says his mantras and so forth. So, this is after first he offered the coconuts, and then he broke them open, then he offered the pulp from inside, the white stuff from inside. And he stayed outside the temple door. Then, in the meantime, Lord Krishna, having eaten the pulp, he leaves the plate empty. Then sometimes, after eating the pulp, Krishna fills the plate again with new pulp. So in this way, the faith, the Shraddha of Raghava Pandit increases. And he's floating in an ocean of love. Yes, Prem Sindhu Bhashe. Prem Sindhu Bhashe means he's floating in the Prem Sindhu, an ocean of Prem. And then, Ek din fal dasha samskara kariya. Then one day, Raghava Pandit, it happened that about 10 coconuts, das fal, 10 fruits, coconut fruits, they were clipped, and then they were brought by a servant to offer to the deity. So when the coconuts were brought, there was little time, not so much time to offer them, because it was already late. The deity has to eat by a certain time. Then the servant was holding this container of these coconuts, 10 coconuts. Then he remained there at the doorway, standing there with these 10 coconuts. Then Raghava Pandit saw that the servant had touched the ceiling above the door. And then he touched the coconuts with the same hand. Understand? The servant is waiting outside of the deity room. But the servant was just, and then he touched the ceiling, the door. Then he touched the coconuts that were going to be offered to the Lord with the same hand. And when Raghava Pandit saw that, he said, people are always coming and going through that door. And the dust from their feet, it blows up and it touches the ceiling of that door. You understand? The dust, it goes up to the ceiling of the door. And after touching the ceiling above the door, you have touched the coconuts. Now they are no longer fit to be offered to Krishna because they are contaminated. Yes. Raghava Pandit told, you cannot offer them. So now there is a nice little purport by Srila Prabhupada. Actually, this Prabhupada is quoting Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And what is he telling? Yeah.
Would you like the text again?
83 now. 83.
Madhya 16?
Madhya 15. 83. So, now Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is explaining that Raghava Pandit, he was not simply a crazy fellow who was suffering from some cleansing mania. Okay, let me explain that. You'll not understand this. Cleansing mania. You know how there are people who become obsessed. They have an obsession about something. Do you know what an obsession is?
Yes.
What's the word in Russian?
It is disease actually. Obsession. But you want to touch, you want to clean after this.
Anything. It can be anything. Different obsessions, okay? They're so obsessed. And so Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is saying, because this is quite strange, that he would say that the people's dust, they're going through the door, the dust from their feet goes up, it touches the top of the door. You can barely even see the dust. But then you took that, you touched that, and then you touched the coconuts. We cannot offer them to Krishna now. They become contaminated. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is saying, Raghava Pandit, what is really his mood? Is he a crazy person? Is he some kind of crazy mad person who's suffering from a cleansing mania? Obsession. Oh, everything has to be completely clean. I mean, there are people like this. They have many different types of mania. They become obsessed with. Okay?
It is disease.
Yeah. It's like a mental disease. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is saying, no, Raghava Pandit, he's not a crazy person who's suffering. And then he explains that Raghava Pandit does not belong to the mundane world, to this world. He doesn't belong to this world. If a person is in lower level consciousness, and they accept something to be spiritual when it is actually material, they have low consciousness level, but they look at it and they say, oh, this is spiritual. But in actuality, it's material. So this is called Bhauma Ijya Dhi. There's a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhauma Ijya Dhi. That means that the ordinary place of their birth, they think, oh, it is spiritual, it is worshipable. Mundane people think like this. Okay? But Raghava Pandit, he's not even in this world. He doesn't belong to this world. He doesn't have this lower level of consciousness of Krishna. And everything he saw was related to the service of the Lord. You see? Everything. Yeah? Oh. So he was always absorbed. He was always absorbed in the transcendental thoughts of how he could always serve Krishna with everything. That everything in this world can serve Krishna. Because why? Because it's Krishna's energy. It belongs to Krishna. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is explaining that there are certain types of neophyte devotees. Neophyte. Who are very new, they're on a very low level, they're just beginning level. And these neophyte devotees on this lower platform, they try to imitate Raghava Pandit. On what platform? On the platform of this material purity and impurity. Just like Raghava Pandit told, no, we cannot offer. You touched, and now we can't offer this to Krishna. So he said there's some neophyte devotees who are actually on the lower platform, but they try to imitate Raghava Pandit, who's on that level. And they try to distinguish between material purity and material impurity. But Prabhupada is saying such imitation, this kind of imitation, it will not help anyone. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela 4:174, this is explained. Here's the verse. Badra Badra Vastu Gyan Nahika Prakrite. Badra Badra Vastu Gyan Nahika Prakrite. This means that on the transcendental platform, there is no higher or lower. On material platform, everyone is distinct. Oh, higher, lower, he's low class, he's high class, this is pure, this is impure. But on the transcendental platform, there is no higher or lower, there is no pure or impure. Does not exist. On the material platform, though, distinction is made between good and bad. Good and bad. On the material platform, that distinction is made. But on the spiritual platform, everything is of what? The same quality. There's no distinction. Everything is of the same quality. So, here, Antya Leela being quoted again, Dvaite Badra Badra Gyan Sab Manodharma. Sab Manodharma. E Bhalo, E Manda, E Sab Brahm. This is a famous verse. Famous. And it's describing that in the material world, this Badra and Abhadra. Badra means auspicious. Abhadra means inauspicious, not auspicious. Okay? So, this is called, this duality. This is auspicious, this is not auspicious. Sab Manodharma. What is this? Mental speculation. It's only the movements of the material mind. So therefore, when someone says, oh, this is good and that is bad, what is it? It's called Brahm. It means illusion. It means making a mistake. It is actually not true. It is not real. So now, Mahaprabhu says, this is the service. This is the nature of Raghava Pandit's service. That Raghava Pandit did not accept the coconuts, but he threw them over the wall. He took all the coconuts, threw them over the wall. His service is purely based on what? Unalloyed, Pavitra Prem Seva. Pavitra, completely pure, unalloyed love. And that unalloyed love of Raghava Pandit, Mahaprabhu says, Jagat Jinya. It can conquer the whole world. The whole world is conquered by that unalloyed love of Raghava Pandit. This is how Mahaprabhu is describing his associates. Understand? Every single one of Mahaprabhu's eternal associates are glorious, full of unlimited transcendental qualities, pure jivas, pure souls descended from the spiritual world. And now Mahaprabhu is sitting with his associates, and one by one, yes, this is Raghava Pandit. You know about Raghava Pandit? Raghava Pandit, he's so pure. He is always swimming in an ocean of prem. So then, after Raghava Pandit threw all those 10 coconuts over the wall, what did he do? He gathered together other coconuts, he cleaned them, he clipped them, and then with very great attention, he offered them to the deity to eat. You see? We cannot imitate this. We cannot imitate because why? Because we don't have that pure love, that pure realization. But nevertheless, there are rules and regulations, how to be clean, which mantras to tell, etc., etc. How to make offering to the deity. We should learn that and we should properly follow that. But we should try to do this from our heart. Because that's actually what Krishna wants. Krishna doesn't need to eat. But he feels very hungry when his pure devotee comes and offers him food. Now he needs to eat. You see? Yeah.
I forget the time and circumstance. Remember when Srila Prabhupada told one of our godbrothers, if I told to you all the standard of cleanliness, you would faint.
Well, actually, I'll tell you, I think you mixed two different things together. Because Srila Prabhupada was telling that in relation to Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And how if you actually hear his realizations, you will faint. But what he said, I know what you're talking about. He said that Hari Bhakti Vilas. Because the devotees were asking Prabhupada, Hari Bhakti Vilas, and Prabhupada was explaining that Hari Bhakti Vilas is a very, very intricate shastra that is telling innumerable different quotations of how to do all the different rituals and service and all of that. You know, in cleanliness, all these different things were being explained in the Hari Bhakti Vilas. So then what happened? Then the devotees are saying, oh Prabhupada, maybe you should translate this and we should have this and we should follow all this. And you know what Prabhupada said? He said, if you try to follow the Hari Bhakti, because it's made for brahmanas of hundreds of years ago, okay? They're from a different culture, a different level of consciousness, everything. But that's given by Sanatana Goswami for the brahmanas and how to do the various samskaras, okay? Which are necessary for the Vaishnavas, not for the Smarta brahmanas. But still, even for the Vaishnavas, there are so many different rules and regulations, and from the moment that you wake up in the morning, there are regulations. Now you chant these mantras. Now you do this, 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 this. So then Srila Prabhupada said, he said, if you tried to follow this, you would not even be able to get out of bed. That's the quote that I'm remembering in relation to that. But, you know, the meaning is the same.
He was speaking about cleanliness, and he said, even when you drink water, you should wash your hands.
Right.
And we know Prabhupada sometimes food shot in the mouth, drank like this.
Yeah.
He said, if I explain to you all the standards of cleanliness, you will think.
Okay, maybe he also said that. But I know one thing. Hayagriva Prabhu, one of the first devotees. I'm not sure whether Prabhupada told him this in San Francisco, New York, or New Vrindavan, but Prabhupada was explaining that, you know, I am trying to make all of you into brahmanas, because actually this is the system of the Hari Bhakti Vilas. This is the system given by our Goswamis. When a devotee becomes eligible to receive Diksha, second initiation, then he becomes initiated, and from the time that he has received that, he now is qualified to perform yagyas, to cook for the deities, and so forth. That's the system that has been introduced all over the world by our Gaudiya Acharyas, right? So that requires purification. Not just anybody can receive that. So when Prabhupada first came to the West and he began to uplift all of these jivas who came to him gradually. It's amazing stories. How he did it. How he was able to bring Krishna consciousness in their hearts. Everything changed. And Prabhupada succeeded for the first time practically of any Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So, you know, Prabhupada was telling to the devotees, he says, actually I've come to make brahmanas. I've come to make brahmanas. So why is he telling that? I thought he came to make Vaishnavas. Yes, of course. But real Vaishnavas are brahmanas. And why did Prabhupada say that? He said because all throughout the world, there are no brahmanas anymore. There are no actual brahmanas functioning. the intellectual class have become so materialistic, and they don't even know the proper way of living, and they're completely contaminated, because a brahmana means one who's very clean, right? That means suchi. Suchi means clean. So a brahmana is clean, but not just bodily, physically clean, mentally clean, internally in the heart clean. And in the Vedic civilization, Brahmins are required in the Varnashram institution of human society. And this is the problem. Prabhupada repeats it endlessly throughout his purports, because he's come to change the whole world. He hasn't come just to introduce some sect from India. He's come to introduce the absolute truth. Krishna's own words, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, everything. He's come to introduce this to the whole world and to completely change the world. And he has done it. And it's all in motion. And all the other acharyas who are also preaching now, it is a big movement. I mean, Srila Prabhupada even went so far as to say that in the Vedic system, you have Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudra. Okay? So Kshatriyas, the Vaishnavas can also act as Kshatriyas. And Prabhupada even said, there may come a time when the Vaishnavas will have to take guns and go to war. Okay? That's not something that cannot be done. Because those who have the Kshatriya tendencies, they will do. But they'll do it for Krishna, like Arjuna did. Okay? Now all the military forces around the world are mostly demonic. Mostly demonic. Some are theistic, some are atheistic. But there's a saying. I heard this one time on an airplane when I met a devotee on an airplane. I never met him again after that, but he was I think he was a Prabhupada disciple, and he had fought in the Iraq war, He had been in that war. And as we were talking, he told me, he said, prior to going out on the battlefield, everybody is waiting, and they're sitting, whether they're waiting in a whole big group or they're waiting in small groups to go out to get into the tanks or whatever. But he said, the biggest macho men, macho man? Macho. I'm a man. I'm macho. So the biggest macho men who were acting, and they have big, strong, they were soldiers. Just before everybody was going out onto the battlefield, even the biggest macho men who never prayed to God or anything, you know what they were doing? Because they're about to meet death. It can be any moment they can die. And now their heads were bowed, and they were a little bit embarrassed, but they were praying. And there's a saying, I don't know exactly where it comes from, but I'm sure you've heard it before, Maharaj. There's a saying, an English saying, that there are no atheists in the foxhole. You heard that? What is the foxhole? Huh? It's like a ditch.
Yes, a culvert. The rest will have the same price.
Yes, you see. In that ditch where they can any moment, their head can pop up and they can get shot. So there are no atheists in the foxhole. When they're faced with death at any moment, now they believe in God. So Prabhupada used to say, you don't believe in God? You think there's no God? But everyone will meet God. Everyone will meet God, but the atheist will meet God in the form of death. Then you'll meet God. Doesn't matter how many billions, trillions, how much you control. When you meet God at the time of death, now you are defeated. and you're going to go down into the body of a, yesterday we were talking, scorpion, lizard, some reptile. That's where you'll be for the next millions and millions of lifetimes. So anyway, Raghava Pandit, after this incident took place, then he would go to many distant villages and he would collect excellent bananas, mangoes, oranges, jackfruits, whatever other first-class fruits that he had heard from people. Oh, you can go here and get jackfruit like this. He would collect them. And all these fruits that were collected from distant places, he would buy them at a very high price even. He would pay a very high price for them. Then after trimming them with great care and with purity, Raghava Pandit offers them to the deity. And therefore, with very great care and attention, Raghava Pandit prepares spinach, shak, other vegetables, radishes, muli, fruits, chipped rice, chira, powdered rice, and sweetmeats. He would prepare all of these. And he prepares cakes, sweet rice, condensed milk, everything else he prepares with very great attention. And then, all the conditions of cooking, they're very pure. Nothing impure where he's cooking. So that the food is first class and it is delicious, very delicious. Очень вкусный. So now Raghava Pandit, he also offers what? Pickles. Mango pickle, achar. He offers kashamdi. He offers various different oils and fragrances for the deities. He offers garments, clothing, ornaments, the best of everything Raghava Pandit offers. And thus in this way, Raghava Pandit serves the Lord in an incomparable way. Anupama. Anupama means you cannot compare it to anything. It is incomparable. And then, everyone, all the Vaishnavas are so satisfied just to see him, to see Raghava Pandit. They're so satisfied. And then, Mahaprabhu, after telling all this about Raghava Pandit, he mercifully embraced Raghava Pandit. And then the Lord also offered to all the other devotees a farewell. Like goodbye, like that, you know. What do you call that in Russian? Farewell. He would bid them farewell. I know how you say it in Russian. You say Счастливого пути. Like that, you know. Have a good journey. So Mahaprabhu was also offering to all the other devotees with the same respect, like that. And then the Lord, he told to Shivananda Sain. Have you heard of Shivananda Sain? Very exalted devotee. Shivananda Sain would lead all the devotees on their 1 month journey, walking on foot. He would lead the way. He would make all the arrangements for paying the different, like some fees to cross rivers and boats and this and that, different taxes that were charged along the way. But what did Mahaprabhu tell to Shivananda Sain? He told him, Vasudev datter tumi karta samadhana. Take very good care of Vasudev Datta. Everyone say the name Vasudev Datta. Vasudev Datta. Everyone together. Vasudev Datta. We should know who he is, because Vasudev Datta is now going to be glorified by Mahaprabhu. And do you know what Vasudev Datta prayed for? Vasudev Datta, he prayed to Mahaprabhu that my heart is breaking, that I am seeing all the innumerable jivas that are suffering and suffering in this material world, in different material bodies and species of life. And they're suffering. So, but they have done so many sins. So now they are condemned, they have to suffer in the prison house. But I want, my dear Lord, please give all of their sinful reactions to me. I will suffer so they can all be liberated. Can you imagine? So, Mahaprabhu is telling to Shivananda saying, take good care of Vasudev Datta very, very nicely, because Vasudev Datta, he is very, very liberal. He's udar. Udar means very liberal. And do you know that every day Vasudev Datta, whatever income he receives, whatever comes to him, he spends it. Every day, immediately he spends. He does not keep any balance at all. Now, because Vasudev Datta, he's in the Grihastha ashram outwardly, so he requires to save some money for his family maintenance. Because he is not doing so. He's not doing it. He's not saving. Because of that, it is very difficult for him to maintain his family. Because he spends all the money every day. So then Mahaprabhu said to Shivananda saying, please take care of Vasudev Datta's family affairs. Please become his manager. And please make the proper adjustments. So they were living in the same village, near to one another. And that place is called Kumara Hatta, where they were living. Kumara Hatta, or Halisahara. Halisahara. So now Mahaprabhu told to Shivananda saying, every year you come here to meet me in Jagannath Puri. You bring all my devotees with you to the Gundicha festival, the day before Rath Yatra. You come to Puri with all of the devotees. And I also request you, Shivananda, you maintain all of these devotees. You maintain them. Now then the Lord, with very great respect, he gave an invitation to all the inhabitants, to all the people from another village here called Kulinagram. Do you know where Kulinagram is? Kulinagram. Here. This whole area is Kulinagram. In the olden times, this was Kulinagram. And Mahaprabhu is telling to all the devotees who came from Kulinagram, from Bengal, he's asking them to come to the festival, Rath Yatra festival, every year. And what should they bring with them when they come? What should all these Kulinagram Vasis, what should they bring with them? They should bring silken rope. What is that rope made out of silk? What would it be used for? It would be used to carry Lord Jagannath during the Rath Yatra festival. Even to this day, they have many ropes that they put on Jagannath, and they lift him up and they move him and rock him back and forth like this. So sometimes those ropes were breaking earlier in another chapter, Mahaprabhu had told them that you are, in your village, you are producing these silken ropes. Make very, very strong ropes when you come next year for Rath Yatra festival, so that Lord Jagannath can be carried properly. Then Mahaprabhu told, he said that a devotee who is from Kulinagram named Gunaraj Khan, that Gunaraj Khan compiled a book. What's the name of that book? It is called Sri Krishna Vijay. He compiled this book. And in that book, there is a sentence, one sentence, that reveals the author's ecstatic love of Krishna. He revealed his ecstatic love of Krishna. So now Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is explaining this. Prabhupada is quoting Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati in this purport. He's explaining. This will be the last thing that we're going to read today in today's class. He said, Sri Krishna Vijay, this is a book of poems, poetry. And it is considered to be the first poetry book that was written in Bengal. Can you imagine that? The first poetry book written in Bengal. Now, Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he is stating that this book, he began to write the book in the year 1473. Or 1395 Shakabda, 1473. Then after 7 years, it was completed in another, after 7 years, probably 1480. And this book, it took 7 years to write this book. This book was written in very simple and plain language. And even the half-educated, not educated, but half-educated Bengalis and women, they could read it very clearly. Even ordinary men with very little knowledge of the alphabet, they could read this book and they could understand this book. Now the language of the book, although it's poetry, but it's not very ornamental poetry. You know, ornamental, like different decorative. We use the term ornamental poetry. That when a person is writing poetry, they choose words and things that make it very sweet and very decorative and like that. So he said that the language that he uses in this book is actually not very ornamental. And even sometimes the poetry is not very sweet to hear. Yeah. And although, according to the rules of, writing poetry, so sonnets, according to those sonnet style, each line should contain 14 syllables. But there are sometimes 16 syllables, sometimes 12, sometimes 13 in his verses. And many words were used in those days that could be understood only by the local people. Only by the local people. Yet, despite all this, this book is still, to this day, this book is so popular that no bookstore is complete without this book. And it is very valuable for those who are interested in advancing in Krishna consciousness. So what's it called? It's called Sri Krishna Vijay. Have you ever heard of that book? As you were growing up in Bengal, did you ever hear the title of that book? Sri Krishna Vijay? Huh? You did or no? Yes, you. No? Okay. So now Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is telling that this author of the book, Sri Gunaraj Khan, he was one of the topmost level Vaishnavas. he also translated the 10th and the 11th cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam. He translated for the understanding of the common man, because it was all in Sanskrit. But he translated it into Bengali of that era, so that even the regular people could understand the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this book, Sri Krishna Vijay, it was highly praised by who? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. He praised this book. And it is a very valuable book for all Vaishnavas. I have to get that book. I hope they have it when I go to Vrindavan, or I can look on Amazon. But when I go to Vrindavan, I always go to the bookshops every single year. Which new books? What new books do you have? What's been translated? Ras Bihari Lal, and also that new one that's right next to Bangkhandi Mahadev Temple. Yes, so so Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives us a genealogical table of the and family history of this devotee, Gunaraj Khan. Here it is. When a Bengali emperor who was named Adishura, when he first came from Kanyakubja or Kanauj, he brought with him 5 Brahmins and he brought with him 5 Kayastas. And since the king is supposed to be accompanied by his associates, the Brahmanas accompanied the king to help him in higher spiritual matters. And then the Kayastas, they were supposed to render other services. So in the northern Indian high country, the Kayastas are accepted as Shudras. We were just talking about that the other day. But in Bengal, the Kayastas are considered among the higher castes. So it is a fact that the Kayastas came to Bengal from northern India, specifically from Kanyakubja or Kanauj. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that the Kayastas who came from Kanyakubja, they were very high-class men. And of them, Dasarath Vasu was a great, great personality. And the 13th generation of his family included Gunaraj Khan. Okay? This is his family lineage. But his real name, Gunaraj Khan's real name, you know what it was? Maladhar Vasu. Maladhar Vasu. But the title Khan was given to him by the Emperor of Bengal. And thus he became known as Gunaraj Khan. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives the following genealogical table of Gunaraj Khan. These are 8 different ancestors. Here it comes, the genealogical table. Dasarath Vasu, Kushala, Shubhashankara, Hamsa, Shaktiram, Baganda, Muktiram, Mainagara, and Alankara, Bangaja, Damodar, Anantaram, Guninayaka, and Vinanayaka. So the 12th generation included Bhagirata and the 13th Maladhar Vasu or Gunaraj Khan. So Sri Gunaraj Khan had 14 sons, of whom the second son, Lakshminath Vasu, received the title Satyaraj Khan. His son was Sri Ramananda Vasu, and therefore Ramananda Vasu belonged to the 15th generation. Then Gunaraj Khan was a very well-known and very wealthy man. His palace, his fort, and his temples are still existing. And from these we can deduce that the opulence of Gunaraj Khan was certainly very great. Sri Gunaraj Khan never cared for the artificial aristocracy introduced by Balal Singh. So these wonderful purports. I remember almost 50 years ago when the Chaitanya Charitamrita first came out. And I would be reading through Chaitanya Charitamrita and suddenly I'd come upon a purport like this, where Prabhupada's quoting Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And I would see that in the purport, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was telling many, many details about the ancestry of this person, about the location, about what train station, if you want to go visit there, you get on this train and go to this train station. And I was thinking to myself, wow, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is so knowledgeable. All these details. But at that time I was thinking, I'm hearing all these names, this, that. But the fact of the matter is, these are all Vaishnavas. When you hear the names of a Vaishnavas, great personalities, even you don't know who they are. Just like Krishna's names, they have special spiritual power. You become purified just by hearing their names. And that is written earlier in the Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj. Just by hearing the names of Mahaprabhu's associate, it's so powerful, purifying, that you can become a pure devotee by just hearing their names. So, this is the last thing I'll read today, in today's class, that this is text 100, that Nanda Nandan Krishna more Prananath. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu now told that Krishna, who is the son of Nanda Maharaj, Nanda Nandan Krishna, that Krishna, more Prananath. He is my Prananath. He is my life and my soul. Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda. And then he said, by this statement, Nanda Nandan Krishna more Prananath, this statement is actually made by Gunaraj Khan in his book. And Mahaprabhu is saying, this statement of Gunaraj Khan, that means now I am sold in the hands of the descendants of Gunaraj Khan. I am sold into their hands because Gunaraj Khan accepts Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, as his very life and soul. So, the full verse is Ek Bhave Banda Hari Yoda Karihat Nanda Nandan Krishna More Prananath. With folded hands, I offer my prayers unto Krishna, Nanda Maharaj's son, who is my life and my soul. Gaur Premanandi. Shri Gunaraj Khan ki jai, Raghava Pandit ki jai, Shivananda Sen ki jai, Vasudev Datta ki jai, Shri Mother Sachi Mata ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari. Jai Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari. Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He. Nitai He, Nitai He, Nitai He, Nitai He, Nitai He. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Jai Saparikar Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Radha Vinod Bihari Jiyo Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai, Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Pancha Tattva Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Charitamritam Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Vrindai Tulsidebai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitan